Welcome to the Late Flight Show. Grab a pipe and take a flight. Whew. Woman. Can't live with them, can't live without them. Right, Smitty? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You've been there. No, but seriously, I was thinking about. I know before we talked about how we are all acting for white men. And then what about, like, I was thinking about instances of when I worked with female directors. Now, I love working with female directors. It's look, male directors are interesting, and I will go into an episode about that. Um, yeah, but female directors are very sensitive and they bring a lot of positive feminine qualities, or traditionally, normatively feminine qualities. See, this is an educational show, kids. It's an educational show. So, female directors normatively bring feminine qualities into the work, which are quite nice to have on a film set, which can get kind of rowdy sometimes and kind of crazy when you have a bunch of guys running amok with lights and tools to capture emotions. It can get pretty fun in a way that sometimes you need to slow it down, take it down. And having women on set is wonderful for that. And especially if it's a female director, because everything is done with love and kindness and care, and they are very meticulous. They know their work, they know each department. And I don't know if, before you throw tomatoes or whatever, just disregard everything I'm going to say because I'm not a female director. But I don't know if they feel a pressure to be better because it's such a rare occurrence to be in that role as a female director. Mosquito, go. Summertime. Um, it's maybe that they feel pressure to be better because it's a male dominated industry. I don't know, but they do seem to have more of their stuff together. They have their storyboards. They know what's happening in each scene. Now that's a good thing. But now, as an actor, sometimes it can introduce some difficulty in terms of how um, we can perform. Now, let me qualify what I'm saying. I've worked with some beautiful, wonderful female directors, and I'm not about to do that thing where people say I'm not offensive, but, and then they say the most offensive thing. No. I'm just musing as a an observer of these situations, watching, because as an actor you have to always be watching, and you guys on set, we're watching you. When you see the actor sitting in the corner pretending to be on their phone, they're not on their phone, they're listening to you. Why? Because we have to listen to what people sound like when they think no one's listening, because it's our job. And what better place to keep ourselves in the zone than around the crew? I mean, I'm not sure, but actors who I've never really worked with actors who hide in the trailer. Um, Even before their scenes up, I've had actors on set be on set. Just hanging around, talking, um, getting to know extras or whatever. And that's because that's our job. So we watch you on set, people. And you think the makeup department has stories. The actors, the makeup department has all the stories. Yes, I'll give you that. The makeup department knows what's going on before Variety does. But the actors have the best stories, okay? Because we get to go in the dressing room, we get to go talk to the director in private. We see things, we hear things. But obviously, we never tell because that's part of the code. You know, like the military has don't ask, don't tell. Yeah, well, we have our own code. Didn't happen, never could happen. It never happened. That's our code. It never have what? When? Really? No, that never happened. Um, so when we watch these few, I remember watching a female director on set, and as actors, because they're so meticulous and everything is pre-planned, maybe the way they envision a scene rolling out is not maybe the best way it could roll out, and communicating that sometimes has been challenging, as a male cisgender, to relate that without being threatening or coming down on the woman. And as actors, we have to have that kind of sensitivity, especially in these days when we don't really take that in our society anymore and it's no longer taken lightly. We have to be sensitive to how we are on set. I mean, I'm going to talk about it in a special episode in tomorrow's episode, hashtag me too. But it really happens, you guys. It really happens where you see the woman director. Um, that's our book. That's my bureau. Okay, that's I am the bureau. I am the booking agent. Okay. Um, so you, as an actor, we have to be, as male actors, we have to be aware and sensitive not only to our other female actors, but to female directors. And it's natural for an actor to have a suggestion because oftentimes you'll get a director who'll say, okay, I want you to come in the room and you're going to act surprised because you see someone sitting there, your scene partner. So you come in the room, and as soon as you come in the room, you see the person and you act surprised. And the director's like, no, 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 no. I want you to come in the room, stand here for a minute, do this, and then go, oh, that I see you, and then be surprised. Now, directors not don't understand acting. It's a completely different craft. I mean, in film school, we had 12 different departments that you could choose from, and clearly, I didn't do cine. Um, I went more for the psychological arts, and what makes characters stick. Well, how can you watch a movie for 90 minutes and still remember the character 20 years later? That's what I learned how to do. Um, so, and acting, of course, applying that to acting. Um, so, so we have to be sensitive in how we behave, and being on set, watching and being working with female directors and trying to give suggestions like, okay, well, in normal life, you wouldn't walk into a room and look around and then be surprised. It has to be realistic. And often you just would have to fight sometimes to get that across. But because they've worked really hard and thought about everything from every angle to prepare, because the system is set up in that way that they're under such scrutiny, it kind of can stifle creativity at times. At times. Now, I love Nora Ephron. Honey child, holla at your boy. Um, and put me in with Jude Law. I want to act with him. But the they are great. They make good movies. I worked with great female directors who did great work, and it was a fun experience. But it is something I noticed just watching and observing and listening, is that sometimes there is a very rigid plan that has to be followed, and there sometimes isn't room to develop ideas on the spot and to improvise, which I find, on the other hand, oh, they're gonna, oh, don't throw tomatoes. With male directors that I've worked with, not all, trust me, not all, definitely not all. And maybe because the sample size is too small for women to compare to the men, so it's not fair. So disregard everything I'm saying in this video, in this show. Um, I hate the word video, it's so crass. I use it when I'm trying to like belittle someone's thing. I'm like, oh, I saw your video. It's like how TV people look down on internet people, and they say, oh, you've got some podcast thing. On what website is that? www what? Oh, online. And the same way people look down on TV people. Oh no, we don't watch TV, we read Faulkner. That's what we do. So I've also seen it with male directors. I've noticed I can come on set and just make up stuff, and like, yeah, good, yeah, go. Because when you study the Kabbalah, you learn like about the masculine side, the feminine side, and the middle side of the tree of life. And it starts like right about the middle part. There's um, Gebura and there's Chesed or Chesed, Gentiles, Oive, Oigavolt. And in the tree of life, on the female side, it talks about form, and females are all about form, and males are all about energy. And I had to learn it for a part that I had to do. As you know, we only believe in what we can see in the late flight show. But it's part of people's beliefs, and as an actor, you have to believe what people believe for 60 days. Um, so this Kabbalah talks about how women are form and men are energy, just free energy and mercy, and allowing, and women are restrictive. And in the middle path, that's like the beauty, where you can have restriction in a form. I mean, you can have free energy in a form. And in traditional life, it's represented as Jesus, which is God in human form. That's Tiferet, the beauty, Sephirah. So when we make babies, the baby is in the woman from a seed that's alive. The egg isn't alive. The energy comes from the man. So that's the Chesed or the Chesed side in the tree of life. And then the womb is the form. It restricts it. It carries it. So restriction is a good thing because it gives form to ideas. And watching it play out is interesting in real life, because you see that with the female directors, everything is written out, it's perfect, it's all formed like a baby in a womb. And they are kind of like Alfred Hitchcock in that the shooting is always on schedule, always works on time, you wrap on time. It's perfect. It's a dream. Um, like Alfred Hitchcock, his wife worked very closely with him, no surprise. um, Everything was, to the T. And in a sense, I love working like that, and that's why I say I love working with female directors. I like people who know what they're doing, who don't waste time. Yes, let's have fun. Please, let's have fun. In between takes, and while we set up. But when that camera is rolling, we mean business. This is what we are going to have in the atmosphere for hundreds of years. So let's get it right. You know, you're in Hollywood, get it right now. Um, so they are good at that. But just like the Kabbalah, the men are like the free energy. So I remember being on set and I was like, yeah, I want to play chess in this scene. I just made it up on the spot because I like to do what Uta Hagen says, which is you go to your set and you prepare. You feel the space of the set because you have to pretend you've been living there forever or you know that place. So move around. Where would you go when you say this line? So I would do that, and there was a chess set, and I wanted to play the chess, and I wrote my own line, one of my own lines to including that chess set. Um, and so the guy was like, yeah, sure, just do it. Yeah, cool. And it made the final cut, and it was great. It sold the movie, it worked. So I find spontaneity can also be a good thing because it just, of course, it goes off the tracks. And when you want to bring that up, though, you feel as a man now, you feel like you might be being abusive and looking down on them. I wonder, I really would love to have a chat with Ava DuVernay, Mrs. Ava DuVernay, Ms., and see if any of what I'm saying is complete hogwash or if it's making sense. Because we start dialogues on the Late Flight show. We open discussions to come to places of understanding and healing by meditating on these things and exploring our craft as actors, which is important to do because we have to understand our social environment in order to portray all of these wonderful characters that we're meant to portray for these writers and casting directors and producers and everyone in the front office. We need to understand. So we are coming at this from an academic approach where we are not stating beliefs, but we are stating circumstances which might lead one to believe certain things. And if we're wrong, let us know to start the dialogue so we can give accurate performances. We are open to learning more and understanding this craft so that when we play you in a theater coming soon near you, we give a portrayal that you can watch and get some healing from. And I'm sure that you know, there are female directors who give you improvisational leeway and who or whatever. Obviously they have to be in all the worlds. I just hope and wish there would be more of a push to put diversity in the way of females in directing so that they can forge their own identity. Oh gosh, I'm using the they word now. I sound like I'm in the United Nations. So that they can forge an identity for themselves. It starts at the grassroots level. Because we don't know how to define something until it's done, and for a long time men were in the film business, so they were able to define the culture of the film business. Even in acting, female parts were sometimes given to men. Black people's parts were given to white men. Mexicans' parts were given to white men. Hashtag George Orwell. What's that movie with that Mexican guy? And he's a detective. And Marlene Dietrich, I think, is a psychic. And they kidnap the wife, and they take the wife on a late. What is that movie? I just saw it the other day. Again, I love that scene when they lock her in the motel room and they're like, in her face. That was cool. I think it was like A Touch of Danger or something. It's called. Anyway, in they had Mexico. Until we had a chance to be in films, we didn't know what. And even now, we're still not fully in films as people of color. We are still finding our voice in films. Like, what is our voice? What is our subculture? What are we saying? What is important to us? Is it making lots of money and becoming a basketball player like half the shows with black people are about? Not about, it's just maybe that's what it is. We all want to be famous basketball players. I guess that's true. But what about looking at media like Childish Gambino? That's what I love about him. Because he looks at why do we want to be basketball players? So he looks at the gritty side of it. And I feel like I like balancing both. Looking at the gritty side, but also appreciating that we wouldn't be able to get out of the gritty side without some way to get out into. And even if that place is ruled by evil people right now, we have to fight them and redefine it for ourselves, because those people will be dead in a decade or so, and we will be the ones who have to be in charge. And we need to know what message it is we are continuing to send. And this is the time for female directors to have the chance to have that time to create a space like black people and people of color are having now, appearing in different types of roles in thrillers. I saw Taraji P. Henson in a thriller, and Idris Elba was like, wow, black people can have a thriller now. It's not just a cookout movie or a movie wearing a fat costume, which are funny and great, and we love them, and they're great for the culture. But there's more to us than that. And that's all we're really advocating for as actors. Just don't like box us in, but at the same time, it's our fault if we get boxed in, because in order to be boxed in, you allow yourself to be boxed in. And a lot of people will bully you and harass you into the ultimate box of a coffin. And it's our jobs, our responsibility to fight that battle, to be the villains to evil, to be the villains to people who say no, by defying them and going against them, by tearing them down and their no and their rejection, and turning it into positivity and success. That's what the Late Flight Show is about, and that's what we want to create, a space where female directors can come have fun. So female directors, come. Miss Eva DuVernay, please come direct the Late Flight Show. Direct an episode of our Late Flight Show, please. I am your clay. I won't give suggestions. Well, I would imagine you'd want suggestions. So yeah, let's do it. For the art. Fly, my birds. Fly, my angels.